Hello, and welcome to MoviePod, the podcast about movies. So this is an episode that's going to be a bonus episode as well as a mailbag episode where I was going to talk about the future of MoviePod, because MoviePod is going to be changing. MoviePod, as you know it, is going to be gone, but MoviePod is going to continue on. So I need a bit of a niche to talk about movies with, because my shtick right now is just too general. I kind of want to find something a bit more narrow to focus on, so I can stand out a little bit more. Focus on a little bit of niche of a topic that really interests me. MoviePod is going to become a podcast about reclaimed cinema. So, reclaimed movies basically are movies that, in pop culture, one group of people has come to this movie and said, like, hey, this movie is actually good, or this movie actually represents us. I think some great examples are, like, a lot of cult movies. So, something like The Thing, which I've already covered before with John Amosich. The Thing is a movie that everyone reviled when it came out. No one liked it. And then when it got home release, people reclaimed The Thing as, like, this is actually one of the best, this is like a great sci-fi horror masterpiece. So cult movies will fall into the realm of MoviePod's new format too. Another thing too I find really interesting in movies too is like movies like The Matrix. When it came out, critically acclaimed, everyone liked it when it came out. But when the directors came out as transgendered, people started viewing The Matrix as a queer text. So I find that to be fascinating too, the fact that a movie's perceptions completely change over time. Another example too of a movie I want to talk about as well is something like Die Hard, and how Die Hard started off as a critically acclaimed just action blockbuster. And in recent times, now every Christmas we have to talk about, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? So Die Hard has been reclaimed as a Christmas movie. The Matrix has been reclaimed as a queer movie. The Thing has been reclaimed as being just a good movie. So I initially was thinking like, okay, well, like if I can think of like 50 movies, that should be good enough for me to get by for a little bit. And I just sat down on my phone. I initially jotted down 150 movies, like literally 150 movies that would actually fit with this podcast format. Every episode I had already scheduled previously for October, they all fit within the format of movies that have been people saying like, hey, like this movie is actually good. This horror movie means something to me. This movie the reception at the time was completely different than what it is now. And the changing receptions is what I find really, really interesting. Because what I love about movies overall, I think I mentioned this before, where movies are really easy to come back to. I'm going to go back to an example of The Thing again, where The Thing exists exactly as it is back in 1982, as it is now. There's no director's cut, but people have looked at this movie, nominated for Razzies. People blast this movie critically, didn't make any money at all. And now you talk about The Thing as if it's like one of the greatest films of all time, which in my opinion it is. And I think that's really, really fascinating how society just perceptions change. Certain groups like gravitate towards a movie and say, hey, this movie means something to me. It could simply be something as simple as like, this movie is just rad as hell, like The Thing. I also find it fascinating that movies like Star Wars prequel trilogy, how people like hated those movies when they came out, but the kids who grew up watching them, they like them, as well as people are able to point a lot of parallels between what George Lucas was saying about governments and what's going on in modern day governments. And it's a fascinating topic that can warrant a full podcast, because people come at movies a million ways. And what I've loved so much about the show is just having discussions with people about movies. And I think it's so cool that people can come with the exact same movie at a different point in time and come with a completely different viewpoint of what the movie is like. And I love it. I love coming to a movie that's like, Thing is going to be the worst piece of shit ever because it's got bad reviews, made no money or something like that. And I'm like, oh fuck, this movie is actually really, really good. Like someday you're going to get an episode of me talking about Blonde, the Anna de Armas movie, like raving about it. And yeah, and people are going to rightfully probably say, hey, like you're an insane person, but I think this is a great movie. But also like, hey, like in my mind, this is not much different than how people look at Twin Peaks Fire Walk Me in the 1990s. And again, Twin Peaks Fire Walk Me, another great example too of like a movie that everyone hated when it came out. Some Japanese critics enjoyed it because they thought the depiction of sexual assault was really powerful and striking. And now that's just kind of the general opinion of the movie, is that this is a movie that actually, like Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, Shirley's performance as Laura Palmer is like one of the great like psychological horror performances, because it is a movie that is just so profoundly unique in how it presents the inner torment of a woman in crisis. And that's a movie that's completely, reception was like, my perception of the movie when I first saw it was like, I hate this movie. And I was like, oh, like this movie has something a lot deeper, more meaningful to say than I ever gave it credit for. And what I want to do this podcast too is I want to give movies a lot more credit than they have before. I have a lot of movies planned already at this point, and I think this format change that like I'll be able to talk about the exact movies I was talking about before, but with a lot more of an interesting, clear focus. I can easily just look at the critical reception of a movie that came out at a point in time, and then look at how people respond on social media today. And so, like, I'm not going to be talking about it's also a nice thing because I can also avoid the bigger movies and topics like Marvel Cinematic Universe. The fact that I can just like look at something like I can dodge a topic, like I don't have to talk about the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton unless there's an interesting viewpoint that's actually taken place in the culture. And I don't want to do a movie where because every movie has its shooters, right? So everyone's going to be like, there's got to be some freak out there. This is a free guy, like that Ryan Reynolds movie is like the best movie ever made, and people are wrong about it. But yeah, every movie has someone that says that. I want to talk about movies that actually had a splash in the culture in some way, some reevaluation in some format. And I think the reevaluation and the reclaiming is what I really want to focus on, because I want to see how perceptions have changed over time, and as well as see how people in groups have actually completely changed the movie's lifespan. Like when Die Hard came out, no one was thinking that Die Hard was going to be a Christmas staple in the vein of like It's a Wonderful Life or like Santa Claus Coming to Town or Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer. But like Die Hard probably plays more often at Christmas time than any of those movies at this point in time, because people have changed how they talk about movies over time. I think it's a really interesting approach to tackle podcasts. Yeah, so MoviePod is going to continue. I like the name too much, so the name's going to stick around the same. I'm going to try to find a bit more of a succinct way to describe what the format is. Blank Check with Griffin David, they will describe how their format works in a very succinct 2-sentence thing, so hopefully I'll be able to figure that out down the line. But yeah, MoviePod is now a reclaimed cinema podcast where it is about looking at movies that have been reevaluated and reclaimed by fans and critics over time, and the changing receptions and the changing attitudes towards the film. It's looking at past and present, and it's going to be a bit of like looking at a movie as a time capsule and a historical object. And yeah, I'm really excited about the format. The people who I've already talked to about the format change, they think it's pretty interesting. The guests who I've already had scheduled, who I say like, hey, we're changing the format of the podcast to be this, they're eager about it too. So they think it's a pretty interesting idea. So I think this is going to be a good change for MoviePod going forward. I've been overwhelmed with the appreciation I've gotten from MoviePod so far. I think that I like how it's going. It's been beyond my wildest expectations of what it could be at this point in time. Yeah, so I'm excited to see where we'll keep on going. So MoviePod will continue. It's every Tuesday. MoviePod has already had episodes scheduled all the way through till December at this point. So the lineup of movies I have going forward look absolutely incredible. I'm really, really excited to discuss the next bunch. Next Tuesday's episode, which is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 with Egg Brain, is still going to be happening. Does not fit the format, but it's going to be kind of like one of the last episodes of the show there. And if all goes to plan on October 3rd, that's going to be the season finale event for MoviePod, where it's going to be the final episode as I shift into a new era of the podcast. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me for this MoviePod endeavor so far. I've had a lot of fun, and hopefully you enjoyed hearing me just like talk about movies and stuff. One thing I know for sure is going to be a lot of me having guests on, because talking solo is a very bizarre thing to do. I want to talk to movies about people rather than just have me talk solo, because this is kind of stressful to do. All right, so I'm going to move on to the mailbag portion of this episode. So, yeah, also one thing too is, so it's going to be the same RSS feed. It's going to be the same stream for the new episode. So you don't have to change a thing. Only I have to change things around. So just stick around and you will see what MoviePod is going to be up to next. All right, so now I'm going to crack open the mailbag, because it's been a while since I've done that. So here is a letter from Andrea, who is going to be a future guest of this podcast. So she sent me 4 points, saying simply, the significance of spoon imagery in the room. Well, I have a lot of thoughts on spoon imagery in the room when I cover the room inevitably down the line for the podcast, because the room definitely fits into a movie that's been reclaimed by the culture too, because that's a movie that was, of course, considered one of the worst movies ever made, and it's been reclaimed by a midnight theater crowd. And it's taken a huge life on its own beyond what was initially expected. Spoon imagery of the room. I don't think there is any. It's clearly just a stock photo they just happen to have, and they just like sitting around, and people are like, hey, why the fuck is there a framed photo of a spoon kicking around in this movie here? I have that framed photo of a spoon in my room right now. I'm looking at it in MoviePod's studio, and it's signed by Greg Sestero. So yeah, I love the room we had in our episode for sure. Andrea also asked me why James Cameron does what James Cameron does. Well, like, as South Park said, James Cameron doesn't do what James Cameron does for James Cameron. James Cameron does what James Cameron does because James Cameron is James Cameron. James Cameron's one of my favorite filmmakers ever. He's a complete madman. A seemingly tyrant on set, who is such a very detail-oriented person. I like how sweeping his stories are. I like how he's like one of the greatest like blockbuster filmmakers. He knows what audiences like. He is very particular in his interest, and he's able to put that through a movie studio system and make them to be very entertaining and wild blockbusters. Visual effects master. Truly, I think Titanic is one of my top 10 movies of all time. He just does things because he wants to explore the bottom of the ocean. He wants to create new technology because he's a fucking psycho. He wants to kill himself in a submarine and expects everyone else to be willing to drown themselves on a set to appease him. It does seem like James Cameron has softened over time in the film sets too. Like, it sounds like Way of Water was a lot more of a calm filming situation than previous James Cameron movies. So James Cameron is he is a truly, truly bizarre guy. And it sucks that he's really into AI stuff now. Hopefully he kind of gives up on that. Yeah, so like when I inevitably covered, can I even cover a James Cameron movie in this format? I guess there's psychos like me who really like Avatar, like more than most people, and things like it's actually a fucking like 5-star masterpiece. So maybe Avatar will be covered. Maybe I'll do something special for when the new movie comes out, Fire and Ash, because I love the Avatar movies. But yeah, fuck, I don't think James Cameron can fit the new format too well. I can squeeze him in somehow. I'll figure out some way. It's my podcast. I made the rules myself. Andrew also asked me a talking cat and other uses for this particular porn set. So if you have not seen a talking cat, it's made by David Ducato, who is like a low budget filmmaker. He films a lot of things at his own mansion there. It's a family drama starring with a cat named Duffy. Duffy is a cat that he has his magical color that can allow him to talk. Eric Roberts voices the cat, and he's literally drunk phoning in his lines. And this cat basically enters people's lives and just tells them like, I'm Duffy. I'm a talking cat. Have you considered talking to the girl about how you feel? You should do better your business. Oh, I'm Duffy. I can only talk once. I'm a talking cat. So this director too also films a bunch of like a softcore porn series called like 1313. And so you can see this house where Talking Cats film was like a family drama, and then you see these other movies he makes as like a softcore porn series. Maybe softcore erotica is a more fair way to describe it, with a lot of like skinny twinks running around a manor and stuff, and solving a mystery or something. Yes, it's one way he uses his house a lot. So a talking cat could probably fit with this too, because I think a talking cat has been kind of reclaimed by some of us cinematic weirdos who love bad movies. So talking cat could potentially be on this podcast down the line. Andrew's fourth and final point in the email is how you conned your otherwise intelligent sister into paying money for Cats 2019. Well, Andrew, it's because you're my sister and I love you and you love me. So, of course we're going to see Cats together. We saw Les Mis together in the theater. So we saw Tom Hooper's other musical there too. The Cats trailers look horrific and terrifying. Seeing Cats in the theater is the only time I've ever had someone tell me like to shut the fuck up during a movie, because I was just like, oh god, disgusting, fucking hell, like during the movie, and Andrew had to tell me to be quiet during the movie. I think I also played the depression card a little bit, like, hey, I'm depressed, let's go see a movie together. I know I did that for when she also bought me the movie on Blu-ray too. So, Cats inevitable episode. It's going to happen at some point. I love all my Jello cats. Just naming cats in the movies is so fucking funny. Like, Mungo Jerry, Rumple Teaser, Jenny Yenny Dots, Skimbleshank's Railway Cat. You just name cats and it sounds really fucking funny. And I think going plot by plot, beat by beat for the Cats 2019 would be a really funny thing to do. So, yeah, Katz's abs are going to happen. So, yeah. So sorry for the late mailbag response, but Andrea, thank you for mailing in. I'm excited to have you on the show at some point soon. So yeah, so this is a letter. He says, "Hello, Brian. I remember in 2012, little 11-year-old me and my mom decided to go watch a movie at a local theater. I don't remember how we chose it, but we landed on watching The Hobbit. I don't think either of us had much knowledge of the Hobbit series, but we randomly decided to do it and thought it might be a good movie to watch. We got our popcorn and drinks and sat down. And after it was over, we thought, hey, it was a pretty good movie. However, we could not say the same thing about everyone else in the theater with us. As soon as credits started to roll, fans of the original Hobbit trilogy who were in the theater with us started murmuring in angry tones, saying things like, that was bullshit, and what the fuck was that? And they angrily walked out in droves with me while me and my mom sat in silent surprise. Have you ever been to a movie and seen audience members get angry at the film during or after it? Catch your friend later, Anon. All right, well, thank you, Anon. Yeah, people turning against a movie in the movie theater while I was seeing it. I saw Megalopolis, the North American premiere, and I saw a lot of people walking out of that movie. That got pretty muted applause after it ended. People like were saying, "What the fuck was that?" and stuff a lot with it too. But I think people expected something truly insane. One of my favorite moments of people turning against a movie in the theater was I saw the movie Winter's Tale from 2014, directed by Akiva Goldsman. Has Colin Farrell and Sybil from Downton Abbey. It's like a magical realism movie where like Colin Farrell plays a young immigrant from the young Irish immigrant in Manhattan who gets killed for a while by Russell Crowe, who is like a demon devil type thing. It's based on a popular book people really like, but like the magical realism comes across as so damn goofy and bad. I had some friends in journalism school tell me like this movie is like, wow, go check it out in the theater. I'm like, okay, fine. So it was mainly eight people, like 4 couples. They were all like 70 plus years old. And as the movie went on, we just like started like chuckling and laughing a little bit. And by the end of the movie, it all were having the time of our lives laughing at the movie. It was so much fucking fun getting people just like to turn against the movie. Awful movie. I would love to cover at some point down the line because it's one of the most insane movies I've ever seen in my entire life. It's really bad. I have it on Blu-ray, of course. Will Smith is a cameo in this movie. It's the most insane thing ever who he plays. It has William Hurt and Jennifer Connelly. It's one of the movies that people clearly hated when they came out. Like, people did not like Batman vs. Superman when I saw that too, but I went to that movie after I read the plot synopsis. So I knew what the reveal was and why Batman vs. Superman stopped fighting. Yeah, so people didn't clearly not like that movie, but they did not really like revolt against it. I'm trying to think of a full-on revolt that happened in the theater because I feel like it's, unless you go into a movie totally blind, I feel like people already have a bit of a perception of what a movie's going to be like, unless it's like opening night. And like, I feel like a lot of the reviews pop up there. I guess like a good, actually, no, you know what a good example is? When I saw the Star Wars Last Jedi, I came on that movie thinking like this is like the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it's like one of the best blockbusters I've seen. This is like on par with the original Star Wars movie. Like, this is so fucking good. And then just like loading up Twitter and something, everyone fucking despising the movie for some valid reasons, some very invalid, sexist, racist reasons. But that was not really in the theater itself. People were rebelling against it. Even I saw like Rise of Skywalker. Like, I had a very cordial crowd that seemed to enjoy it. Yeah, I kind of would love to see like a full revolt in a movie. I feel like I'm Canadian, so like a lot of my crowds are pretty respectful compared to like horror stories I hear out of America, where they're like uncivilized monsters during a movie who just like cannot contain themselves and have to applaud at every damn scene ever. But yeah, I can understand the frustration of the Hobbit movies because the Hobbit movies are very much it's a strange adaptation. It should not have been 3 movies. They add a lot of stuff. It feels like a made-for-streaming movie for the most part. Yeah, like I never seen a movie just get completely everyone get angry at it. And I kind of want to. That'd be kind of fun to witness. So, yeah, thank you for the letter. I would love to keep my eye open to see if a movie to really piss off a crowd. Because I kind of like to see that a lot. I want to see some boos and jeers in a movie, which rarely happens. Like, I kind of, like, even with TIFF, where, like, even at a film festival, where you kind of, like, see a movie before the rest of the people are kind of like, like, oh, yeah, like, even movies kind of, like, mediocre. People are kind of, like, applauding for, like, being happy. Like, hey, you at least made a movie. You did something. You put it out there. I feel like it's gonna be better for blockbusters, like bigger movies, because like that, like no one has sympathy for like a Marvel movie sucking shit at all. Like I kind of would love to see like a Marvel movie opening night and have everyone rip upon it, like just not because it's Marvel per se, but just because it is a big blockbuster franchise. I would love to see people just like turning against a movie, because film is a communal experience. Going to cinema is a communal experience, and you kind of want to see more of a, I think it's good that people are kind of more generous and thoughtful, but it'd be kind of fun to see people just like go completely haywire and insane with it. So yeah, so thank you, Anon, for the letter. Thank you for listening, and I will please email me again down the line. All right, so my final letter I got here is from Tuck, and Tuck asked me, this is a good one. You're on your deathbed. You have time to watch one more movie, but you only have 3 Blu-rays available. They are The Pest, Life Itself, and Jurassic World Dominion. What do you do? Okay, thank you, Tuck. So I'm on my deathbed, right? So, time for one more movie. Shit. If I saw The Pest, I'd probably blow my brains out on the spot, because The Pest with John Leguizamo is one of the most irritating movies ever. Very, very awful movie. Life Itself, that is the movie made by the guy who did like This Is Us, the TV show. So it's like basically an everything is connected kind of drama with like Oscar Isaac, Olivia Wilde, what else we got there? Antonio Banderas, Olivia Cook. It's really fucking atrocious, and it's so fucking funny because I think it's something profound, but it's just like, oh well, like, and the whole thing with Life Itself is like Olivia Wilde's like, she's like, a college student. She's like, oh well, like, the only reliable narrator in life is life itself. So like, this is the most profound thing anyone's ever said in their life. Such like a bunch of horse shit. But Life Itself rules because at least like 3 people get hit by buses in that movie, so it's really fucking funny. It's a really awful script, really awful screenplay, but it's very, if you want to watch like a good, bad, self-serious movie, Life Itself is pretty good for that. Jurassic World Dominion. So Jurassic World Dominion is the 6th Jurassic Park movie, and it's one of the biggest piece of shit I've seen my entire life. I would not pick that one either because Colin Trevorrow is like one of the biggest hacks working in Hollywood for sure. That movie is a complete crock of shit. That movie is just an absolute abomination. It's a legacy sequel in the worst ways because it just does not give a fuck about what made the original was important to. Like, they will have like Laura Dern standing up recreating her own shot of like her like, looking at the dinosaur for the first time, but she's looking at nothing. They just want to get the shot of her looking at something, but she's looking at like a tree or something. We had Dodson back as the villain because I remember Dodson from the first one. It is just a really, really bad movie. So of these 3, well, like I'm gonna have to pick Life Itself as the one Blu-ray to watch on my deathbed because I feel like there's some joy in the world. Out of those 3, I'd probably pick Life Itself on the Blu-ray to watch because I would laugh a little bit. I feel like The Pest and Jurassic World Dominion make me want to like just slam a hammer into my head a bunch of times, but Life Itself is bafflingly bad. It tries to be profound. I already have Life Itself on Blu-ray, so I have to acquire it. Unlike The Pest and Jurassic World Dominion, which I do not own a copy of at all. So yeah, like my answer, my deathbed, one more movie, but only 3 are available, is Life Itself. It sucks ass. It's horrible. I really want to do this podcast down the line because it is a truly, truly bizarre movie about like, I don't know, liking Bob Dylan music and having an olive oil vineyard or something. It is very, very bad. Yeah, so that's all I got in the mailbag so far. So keep sending mail in at moviepodmailbag@gmail.com. So I'm really excited with the format change, so please stick around for that. And until next Tuesday, we're going to do Egg Brain with Cloud Chance on Meatballs 2. Please take care.